During today's webinar, I will go through our agenda real quickly. You will have the chance to learn more about Spur Change program and the SMO initiative. And then you will have the opportunity to learn more about the results of the SMO reports for today, for this year. And then you will have the chance to hear presentations from 3 Canadian organizations and their partners from Honduras, Sierra Leone, and Burkina Faso. We will then have a Q&A session, and you will be invited to add your questions and comments in the comment box. And the panelists will be able to answer them at the end of the presentation.
The Spur Change program. So Spur Change is a 5-year initiative of the Intercouncil Network, the ICN, and it's funded by Global Affairs Canada. It aims to increase the effectiveness of Canadian small and medium-sized organizations, the SMOs. We offer learning and knowledge sharing opportunities for SMOs, but the program is also for youth and educators, as we aim to increase the engagement of Canadians as global citizens. So Spur Change is part of the broader SMO for Impact and Innovation initiative, which includes the Fund for Innovation and Transformation, FIT, which is hosted and managed by the Manitoba Council on behalf of the ICN, and also the Development Impact Window, which is managed by Global Affairs Canada. So since the launch of the Spur Change program in 2019, Spur Change has supported 467 unique Canadian SMOs, 60 international SMOs, and 122 large organizations or organizations that don't qualify as small and medium-sized organizations. And due to our close collaboration with provincial and regional councils for international cooperation across Canada, we've been able to support SMOs from coast to coast to coast. Through our 117 training and online learning opportunities, we've helped build the capacity of close to 3,000 participants. And 93% of our participants report that our training and tools were relevant to their needs, which is a wonderful data to share. In terms of our legacy, we created close to 400 resources, including self-paced courses in English and French. These resources cover a diversity of themes, including training on gender equality, monitoring, evaluation, learning, project management, public engagement, fundraising, resource mobilization, and all of these resources are available in English and French through our resource library. So today we are publishing our 5th SMO report, as I said earlier. So once a year since the beginning of the Spur Change program, we commission an SMO report to fill the knowledge gap on the state of Canadian SMOs working globally. The first SMO report, published in 2020, showcased the result of our initial needs assessment. The following 3 reports have been done in collaboration with a research team at the University of Guelph, Memorial University, and Worcester Polytechnic Institute. I'm glad to see that some of the research team members are here today, so thanks for joining. 2 of the reports have focused on the COVID pandemic and how it has impacted SMOs, while last year's report focuses on what constitutes an enabling environment for Canadian SMOs. And all reports are available in French and English via our resource library. So these reports constitute, along with some research papers that we published in the last 2 years, a large portion of the very limited publication available on Canadian SMOs. So we are very proud of this contribution to knowledge, and hopefully these could serve the whole international cooperation community. So before introducing this year's report and the team who've worked on it, I'm pleased to welcome Patricia Peña, Assistant Deputy Minister of International Development, Partnerships and Operation at Global Affairs Canada. So Patricia Peña leads a multi-phased team at Global Affairs Canada, responsible for consolidating expertise and excellence in the delivery of international assistance and increasing impact, innovation, and engagement with a wide range of Canadian partners. She has a rich and long-standing history working with Canadian, multilateral, civil society, private sector, philanthropic, and diplomatic partners globally. We are very happy she agreed to be with us today. So Ms. Peña, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. What a generous introduction. Salut tout le monde. Je suis vraiment ravie.
Hi everyone. I am so happy to be here with you today. I will speak mainly in English, but knowing that there is interpretation services, it's great. For me, it's really important to be here to celebrate the impact of this great initiative that's been so important for the PMOs in Canada.
Really happy that I could join today. Uh, we have such a rich kind of ecosystem of Canadian organizations that are engaged in international development issues, but a particularly important part of that is the role of small and medium-sized organizations. They're each unique. They respond sometimes to gaps, specific interest issues, and have this amazing role, often associated with volunteers, to kind of work in a very pragmatic, practical, and action-oriented way to kind of to engage in international development, either in a country or in a particular sector. And so it's really exciting, as I was reviewing this year's report, to kind of hear about some of the case studies and kind of get some of the sense of the impact that very small organizations in some instances can have. And so it's been really important for us as Global Affairs Canada to support these efforts. We see it as part of increasing our development engagement, the diversity of partners that we work with, and then also contributing to the awareness and involvement of Canadians in international development. You have particular reach. And through our collaboration on this and other things, also supporting the capacity building of Canadian organizations. So by putting a bow on that, I would say congratulations to the Spur Change team on delivering this amazing programming that has built the capacity of over 400 organizations in the past 5 years. Now that we kind of see the impact, we realize that it was not automatic and it took a lot of effort. So it's really a testament to you. I'm thrilled to be able to say today, and it was something that was already shared, but that the Spur Change program is being extended, and will be able to continue operating for another year to support small and medium-sized organizations across Canada. So that's a testament to all of these achievements. Today, we'll get a chance to hear about some specific cases, but really across the board, knowing the impact of this program. So, a few reflections from the perspective of global affairs. We know it's not easy to work with us sometimes. We were an organization that was built to work across a range of different organizations, and some of our modalities and some of the documentation we ask for and some of our processes are challenging for small organizations that have limited resourcing and that also depend on volunteers in many instances. And some things are complicated, and we ask ourselves, well, do they have to be? So we're really committed to being more nimble, more efficient, and only asking for those things that are really, really necessary. We've received a lot of feedback about that, things that haven't worked, and so we're looking to change them as we move along. So we're going to be piloting, as we move forward, some streamlined measures, particularly on project planning and reporting. As always, we'll very much look forward to any feedback that partners might have on that. I'd really like to commend also the Alberta Council for Global Cooperation, the Intercouncil Network, for being a center of expertise on building SMO capacity in Canada and abroad. This is so important because a lot of the work happens also with local partners in countries, and the impact is felt immediately. It's over 50 years of cooperation that you've been involved in Canada, and I hope it will allow us for much, much more. Donc, pour terminer, je veux vraiment vous féliciter.
To conclude, I really want to acknowledge and congratulate you. This 5-year initiative has really demonstrated how feasible this type of impact is. The impact of Canadian organizations is real, it's important, and we are here to continue upholding that in the future. Thank you so much to everybody, and I will participate to the first part of this conversation. Sadly, I will have to leave before the end, but I will be there to hear all of your comments throughout partnerships and participants across Canada. Thank you so much for participating. Thank you so much, Madame Peña, for being here, but also for the continuous support. Thank you for mentioning the specific context in which we are operating as PMOs and the specific limitations that sometimes are imposed on us. We felt a great enthusiasm and an opening from Global Affairs Canada so that we can find solutions to some of those barriers, namely about reporting. So it's really appreciated to see how open-minded you are. And thank you so much for prolonging Spur Change programming. In the next year, we will be able to pursue our ongoing support, namely by hosting a new PMO cohort that will be funded for the impact on development. But it's also great that we will use this last year of the program to really unite all the SMOs that participated in this program through a national conference that will be held in the months of the fall, so that we can share the knowledge and the data that we collected, namely with the larger organizations FIT and development impact. Thank you so much for this ongoing support, as I was just saying.
Move to this year's SMO report. So as the program is reaching its 5-year mark, throughout the year, we've been celebrating the impact and the contribution of the SMO initiative, but most importantly, the impact of Canadian SMOs and their partners overseas. So this year's report is looking back at the achievements and the successes of 8 different SMOs, supported by the SMO pilot initiative, through either Spur Change, FIT, the development impact window, or all of them. So now I'd like to hand over to my colleague, André Melrose, who is Spur Change Project and Community Coordinator. So André has been coordinating the production of this year's report and will introduce the report objectives and our next speakers. Thank you.
Thank you, Andréane, and thank you, Patricia, and everybody who has joined us today. As mentioned, my name is André. I am here on the lands of the Semiahmoo and Kwantlen out in British Columbia. And so just going to discuss a little bit about our report and the main objectives of this. So essentially, as we were coming to the end of our 5-year pilot program, we wanted to take the opportunity to really highlight and showcase some of the amazing work that SMOs have contributed, and to discuss, show a little bit of what they've done. Now, yeah, looking at the contributions and understanding why the support is important and required, and what the support has meant to our SMO partners and what they've been able to accomplish with it, and all of their specific accomplishments, essentially. Now, what I'm going to do before we move into our partners is we're going to do a quick little Mentimeter activity. So you'll see here we've got a code right there, and hopefully one of my colleagues can also enter in the chat a code to enter the Mentimeter. And we're going to ask you a couple questions to sort of get the ball rolling and to understand a little bit about how important SMOs are, why SMOs are important, and what, for many of you, what your organizations have been able to achieve with such support. So we'll get that passed on there. As you can see in the chat, Marie-Catherine has passed that there. And I will share a screen with the responses here, and just gonna wait a little bit for those to come on in, and we'll kind of just discuss a little bit what we've got going. So as you can see, why is it important to support SMOs? We're having some great words coming up here. Sustainability, so many words are coming in even too fast. Building capacity, the connection to Canadians, agility is a big one. Very niche work, and community-based is one that we'll hear about as well. Energetic, grassroots. Localization, that's one that many of our partners have emphasized and that we discuss as well in the report. Excellent. And I'll move to the next question here. And what are some impacts that your organization has achieved due to that support or otherwise? And this can be anything from the development impact window through Spur Change, through FIT, or any other support that you've received elsewhere. And this one appears not to be working as well, but perhaps we can include it in the chat. There might have been a little bug with that one. That's okay. One of the important things about that is that we're going to hear from some of our organizations today about some of these impacts. And so perhaps that'll be a better way of doing it rather than through a Mentimeter online. So I'll just go briefly back to introduce a little bit our speakers. Now, we have 3 organizations here today and their partners. So we have Bruce from World Neighbours Canada and his partner out in Honduras, Carlos Viril. And we have Wendy and Suma from Cause Canada. They are both in Sierra Leone right now, as well as Shaka Sisi from the Foundation for Intercultural and Interreligious Dialogue Initiatives, or FIIDI, and he is out in Calgary. And I will introduce them in a little bit more detail further on, but first of all, we're going to start off with my colleague who helped me write this, who is the principal writer, I should say, of the report. And so I'm going to pass this off to Shanice, who will go into greater detail rather than just the brief objectives that I had mentioned. So, and actually I'll also add that I will be sharing these slides in French. So if you would like to view those in French, you will have the option at the top of the screen to change options to view slides, and you can view mine or you can view Shanice's in the original English. Shanice, I'll pass it on to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Andre. So I'm just going to share my screen right now. Right. Okay, great. So hi, everyone. As mentioned, I'm Shanice Tadao, the lead writer of the report, and I would first like to acknowledge the land on which I am able to live, work, and play today, which is the unceded territory of many Indigenous communities such as the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabeg, the Huron-Wendat, and the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. This land is also known as Toronto or Toronto. So I will be presenting the key findings of this year's Spur Change report. Unlike the previous years, this isn't a formal research initiative, but a project and report to highlight the stories and impact of the supported SMOs. So working closely with Andre and the Spur Change team, we still collected data, mainly qualitative, which included a thorough documentation review and 8 interviews. We started by looking at the 460 SMOs that were supported through Spur Change over the last 5 years, and then 8 cases were finally selected to ensure representation across various factors. So this included, but is not limited to, the organization size, the language in which SMOs mainly operated in, and the region in which they are situated. Another factor that was considered and that I would like to highlight is that the SMOs featured in the report have been supported not only by Spur Change, but in conjunction with the other programming windows within Global Affairs Canada's SMO initiative. So we do see this initiative as an ecosystem where all the pieces work together to best support SMOs, and seeing how these pieces can fit together is showcased in the 8 SMO stories and the case studies. So there were 5 key themes that were identified and can be seen across most, if not all, the case studies. And I'm going to go through each of them briefly. Here you'll just see a quick overview of each of them. So the first recurring theme that we noticed across all interviewed SMOs was their enhanced capabilities and effectiveness. Spur Change's capacity building opportunities had a positive influence on both the Canadian and international staff's professional development, the SMO's internal policies and processes, better equipping them to lead their projects effectively. And sometimes this also led to securing funds through programs like FIT, the Fund for Innovation and Technology, which is part of that SMO initiative that I just presented previously. So ultimately, we saw that improved capacity at the individual level impacted the organizational level, and in turn, better positioned SMOs to address challenges and deliver meaningful impact in their respective areas of work. The second theme that we identified was that thanks to these opportunities, the interviewed SMOs were scaling their projects. So for example, that could be replicating successful interventions in new locations. SMOs really leveraged the insights that they gained from all the opportunities within the SMO initiative and effectively applied, for example, resource mobilization strategies that led to improved efficiencies, securing larger funds, and diversifying funding sources, which included international sources and the development impact window, which is also part of the SMO initiative. So we're already seeing how these different pieces of the ecosystem are fitting together. And you'll probably notice how these themes are not only cross-cutting the different case studies, but are also connected to one another, especially theme number 1 on enhancing capabilities and effectiveness. Then we have theme number 3, which is about SMOs empowering local partners and communities. And we saw localization in the Mentimeter. So SMOs have proven to be well positioned to utilize a localized approach, mainly due to their size and adaptability. And Spur Change supports them in their efforts by ensuring that all its opportunities are accessible. So having access to opportunities to build their capacity, the local staff and the partners that we interviewed felt better equipped, felt more confident and empowered in their abilities in project management, including crucial funding and donor-related activities. So this gave way to an environment where local partners and staff were more engaged, and with their Canadian counterparts, were able to communicate and design as equals within the funder systems, really shifting the power dynamics to place communities and local practitioners at the forefront and at the heart of the work. The fourth theme we identified was engaging youth and the public, with Spur Change supporting 3 streams. So there are the SMOs, of course, youth directly, and educators. So through Spur, the SMOs were able to strengthen their connections with youth by enhancing their abilities to promote youth engagement and global citizenship education. And at the same time, youth were building their skills, gaining confidence, and leading public engagement activities within their communities, and often supported by an SMO. Additionally, educators, of course, play a crucial role in GCE, global citizenship education, and youth engagement. So Spur Change supports educators in their efforts. It gave the educators the opportunity to connect with other education practitioners and SMOs, not only within their region, but also across Canada, which expanded their knowledge and outreach. And ultimately, these opportunities were invaluable to the ones that we've interviewed, as they contributed to enhancing their abilities to educate students as global citizens. And the last cross-cutting theme is fostering connections to and within the sector. So having spaces to connect and learn from one another proved to be invaluable to SMOs because it created opportunities for collaboration and a sense of solidarity. So these connections that they've made help the SMOs access funding, leverage diverse expertise and resources, and fundamentally amplify their mission, just to name a few. And in fact, the SMOs featured in this report further engage with their councils, with their provincial and regional councils, so that they can maintain access to these collective knowledge sharing spaces and support networks. So SMOs are, as we've seen, SMOs are achieving remarkable results and making remarkable contributions. However, they do face persistent challenges. So based on the insights that we've gathered during the interviews, we identified the following recommendation for future initiatives. I won't go through all of them today, but I wanted to highlight a few. For example, prioritizing accessibility. As we've seen the potential impact accessible communities can accessible opportunities can have, empowering local partners and staff, provide flexibility in many aspects of the programming, and supporting and facilitating relationship building. So really going beyond connecting one another and giving purpose to these connections. So if you'd like to dig deeper into the other recommendations and the case studies, if I'm not mistaken, the full report should be available after the webinar. And finally, I would like to thank the SMOs who have agreed to participate and volunteer their time for the interviews and for the report. Some of them are present today, and I'm excited for everyone to hear their stories and the incredible work that they've been doing. And I know I saw some of them in the audience today as well. So I look forward to hearing from them again. Thank you. Audrey, you can take it back.
Thank you very much, Shanice. And yes, thanks for mentioning that. I do see a handful or many of the participants in our webinar here today, and it's great to see you. And I hope you will enjoy reading the report, as it will all be available at the end, and we will be passing along the link to the full report at the closing of our meeting today. Now, to get us started, I would like to introduce Bruce from World Neighbours Canada. Now, Bruce has been, he's the volunteer director of World Neighbours Canada, and he's been within the organization for 30 years. Today, he's joined by Carlos Vigil. He is the director of Vecinos Honduras, and he is joining us from Honduras today. And so they work around rights-based approaches to participatory action research and ecological protection. Carlos was recently hosted by World Neighbours Canada and in conjunction with the BCCIC, the BC Council, and Spur Change to come do a tour in BC. But I will let Bruce and Carlos take it from here so that they can explain even better their impact that they have made over the last 5 years, and that continues to happen. Go ahead.
Thank you, Andre, and thank you everyone for joining us today. I'm going to share my screen here. As Andre mentioned, we have been working closely with Spur Change and also with FIT, and that's what we're going to talk about briefly today. To introduce World Neighbours Canada, we are a small organization. We're based in BC. We don't have a central office. We're dispersed among various towns and cities. We really have strong connections to our local communities. In our programs, we focus on rural development in remote areas, and we really focus on long-term partnerships, spanning decades rather than just a year or two. We're going to talk a little bit about the FIT-supported project in Burkina Faso. This was a really interesting thing that we did working with our partner APDC, and I have with me today, at least in a recorded phone call, we have Judy and Rebecca, my colleagues, and we're going to go to the Kamloops to Ouagadougou hotline and hear what they have to say about the program in Burkina Faso.
Bonjour tout le monde, je m'appelle Judy Gray et je suis une des directeurs de World Neighbours Canada. C'est moi qui m'occupe de la communication entre notre partenaire local au Burkina Faso. Cette ONG s'appelle APDC. C'est mon plaisir de vous présenter Rebecca Tankoano, coordinatrice des activités de APDC dans la région de FIIDI. En 2020, avec l'aide d'une subvention de FIT, APDC a entrepris un projet expérimental qui a permis à chaque femme innovatrice d'établir une entreprise personnelle en embauche des moutons. Rebecca a coordonné ce projet et elle a travaillé en étroite collaboration avec les femmes et leurs familles pendant le projet. Elle a fait plusieurs observations très intéressantes et je veux qu'elle en partage quelques-unes. Bonjour Rebecca.
Bonjour Judy.
Ça va bien. En premier, pourriez-vous nous parler du changement que vous avez observé dans les relations entre une femme et son mari au cours du projet?
Merci beaucoup Judy. Je dirais que grâce au projet FIT, nous avons mené des sensibilisations sur l'égalité des sexes au profit des ménages bénéficiaires. Et ces sensibilisations ont permis aux maris de mieux comprendre et de prendre des décisions pour avoir des relations beaucoup plus positives et respectueuses envers leurs femmes. Donc désormais, beaucoup de maris consultent leurs femmes pour les prises de décision dans les ménages. Ces maris soutiennent leurs femmes dans les travaux ménagers. Aussi, et ces maris permettent à leurs femmes d'aller au marché à bétail seuls, chose qu'ils ne faisaient pas avant, parce qu'ils ont eu beaucoup plus de confiance envers leurs femmes. Merci.
OK, merci beaucoup. As-tu vu d'autres changements positifs qui étaient le résultat de ce projet, surtout pour les femmes ou pour la famille?
Oui, il y a eu beaucoup de changements positifs, notamment l'impact économique. Et grâce au projet, les femmes ont entrepris des activités d'embauche qui ont généré beaucoup de bénéfices pour la plupart des femmes et cela leur a permis de subvenir aux besoins familiaux tels que l'alimentation, les soins de santé, la gestion des frais de scolarité pour les enfants et bien d'autres. Merci.
Et les adolescents étaient impliqués aussi?
Oui, ils étaient impliqués et aussi ont reçu des sensibilisations sur l'égalité des sexes. Et cela a permis aux adolescents d'avoir des relations beaucoup plus saines envers les filles. C'est des garçons qui font le ménage désormais, qui nettoient la cour, qui font la vaisselle, etc. Beaucoup de choses ont été changées et au niveau des adolescents également. Merci.
Oh, je vois qu'il y a eu beaucoup de changements pour ces femmes et pour leur famille. Tout ce qui a été positif. Vraiment, je te remercie beaucoup, Rebecca, d'avoir participé à cette entrevue. Je sais très bien que les villageois et leurs familles ont apprécié énormément le soutien que vous et les autres employés de APDC leur ont fourni pendant ce projet et même après, et que cela continue même en ces jours-ci. Encore une fois, merci.
C'est moi qui vous remercie, Judy.
Okay, thank you to Judy and Rebecca for sharing the experiences in Burkina Faso. We're going to switch gears now. We're going to go to Tegucigalpa. And my colleague, Carlos Vigil, he's Executive Director of Vecinos Honduras, is going to talk to us about climate change and its impacts in Honduras. Hello, Carlos.
Hello, I'm ready.
Okay.
Okay.
So, Carlos, in your tour of BC, you spoke about the impact of climate change in the dry corridor of Honduras, but you said there are other problems on the landscape at the same time.
Yeah. Thanks, Bruce and everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. In fact, climate change is doing a lot of negative effects in several areas. High temperatures increases the incidence of pests and diseases in crops. Recurrent droughts alternate with frequent floods. These phenomena are aggravated by human intervention, mainly mining, industrial agriculture, dam construction, deforestation, high consumption of agrochemicals, contamination of rivers, use of water for irrigation at the river mouths, land grabs by large companies, biodiversity damage, and expansion of agricultural frontier. In the long term, desertification.
And Carlos, what are the consequences of these challenges for communities? And what is Vecinos Honduras doing to help communities who are facing these problems?
Yeah, main consequences are population displacement, recurrent food crisis. Every year we have a food crisis, contamination and scarcity of water for human and domestic consumption, high social and environmental conflicts.
And your strategy continues over multiple years, I believe. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, our strategy to address all these problems, even though they are, some of them are structural problems, are long-term interventions in a group of 7 to 10 communities for about 9 to 10 years in a specific area in 3 phases. Phase 1, gain confidence and trust for 3 years, and dissemination of agroecology techniques, basic agroecology techniques. Phase 2, expand learning, good practices, and leadership capacities for another 3 years. And the third phase, consolidation of community-based organizations 4 to 10 years, so to increase sustainability of whatever is done during the 3 phases.
That's really amazing, Carlos. And we heard about that in your tour of BC and this long-term approach to strengthening communities. It's certainly not an overnight process, and your commitment to communities is really impressive. Finally, can you tell us a bit more? What are the elements of your strategy?
Yeah, key elements that we address in small communities, mainly for small farmers, increase availability of quantity and quality of water for the population, development of leadership capacities of community organizations, and organized participation of the population in the protection and conservation of water sources with a comprehensive management approach. B, dissemination of agroecological production practices in family gardens and plots, use of native seeds as the main axis of diversification of the production. All of this above with a human rights-based approach that includes advocacy actions towards local government, central government institutions present in the area of influence of the project, and alliances with other civil society actors, NGOs, social movements that defend the territory and environment. Thanks.
Thank you, Carlos. It's really interesting to hear that you're building on a strong foundation, addressing first basic needs in health and agriculture and water. And then from that, you're building very strong community organizations who can advocate for their own needs. That brings us to the end of our presentation, and we certainly want to thank Spur Change and FIT for their support with both of these initiatives. It's been really great to engage so deeply with our local partners. Over to you, Andre.
Thank you very much, Bruce. And thank you, Carlos. And also thank you, Judy, and extend our thanks to Rebecca as well. Thank you guys for your great presentations and discussing some of your work that you've done. Now we're going to pass it on to Wendy Fur and Suma Abdullah from Cause Canada. They are in Sierra Leone right now, and they have a few things that they would like to share as well. And of course, all of these participants are featured in our SMO report, and this will be some more of what they can let us know. So on to you, Wendy and Suma. Thank you.
Thanks, Andre. And we're very pleased to be joining you from Sierra Leone today. We don't have fantastic internet connections, so hopefully we don't have any problems. Okay, let me share. All right, so I'm going to start by telling you just a touch about Cause Canada and what we do, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about what we're doing, and then why Spur Change has actually been so helpful for Suma and I. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation. So Cause Canada was founded in 1984. We've been around for a really long time. We've been working in Sierra Leone since 1988. And we're really focused on breaking the cycles of extreme poverty among the most vulnerable populations, by partnering and building capacity. So the partnership and the capacity building of the communities where we're working is really, really critical to what we do. And we're focused on areas of health, education, and livelihoods. Critical to the work that we do is a question of who identifies the needs and solutions. And for Cause, we've really noticed that our projects are so much stronger. Our projects are really effective at meeting the most pressing needs when we help the field to do that. When we provide the opportunity for the field to really assess and to think, and when we really try to just work with them and help them to, our job is really to come alongside and help them to develop that project. So one really, really great example of this, and to be honest, really surprised at how great of an example this is a project that we recently undertook called Supporting the Implementation of Sierra Leone's Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment Act, so the GIWI Act. So this act was something that was put into place in 2022, and what it said was that women had to comprise a certain percentage of all of the political representation. So whether that was at a community level, whether it was at a district level, or whether it was at a much higher level. This includes things like chiefdom leadership, right up to the House and the president. So there's a certain percentage has to be women. And when we had this opportunity to ask for a little bit of funding, we had no idea what we could possibly, what we wanted to work on. And we said to Suma and some of our other colleagues, Suma, what should we do? If you could do anything, what would you do? And he said, we need to tell the communities about this act, because no one knows. There's all sorts of opportunities for women to get involved, but women don't know, leaders don't know. And so they're not voting, or they're not participating in a way that they have full rights to do. And so we were able to secure this small amount of funding, and the project lasted 6 months. And last November, when I was here, we went out into the communities and we talked to some of these women, and these three women here, they told me, we didn't ever know that if we paid our taxes, we had the right to vote. Now we're all paying our taxes because it gives us a chance to have a say. And next time there is a chief to be voted in, we're going to get a woman in there because we want a woman. We deserve to have a woman. Women bear such a heavy load here in Sierra Leone. They said, we want to have our rights. We want to have our troubles heard, and we want to have a voice in these things. So this was a very, very exciting project. And it is completely because we really took the time to talk to our staff. But I also really want to say it is in part because Spur Change really helped develop the capacity for the team in Sierra Leone to be able to understand the information we were looking for. So when we develop a project, it's so hard to kind of necessarily have, we know what the team in the field wants to do, but how do we make it fit? And how do we make that translation from what they want to the translation to what, the government wants or the foundation wants? And so they were really instrumental in helping build the capacity in the field. to do this. My turn, your turn.
Yes. Thank you very much to the Spur Change team. For us at Across Canada, this is a very big opportunity because having gone through the IBM training really spurred me up to contribute more to Across Canada the way I wasn't contributing before. And the culture of continuous learning is in Across Canada, and so that's the more reason why I was introduced to the IBM training. And as soon as I took the training, I also encouraged my team members by then to also take that training. And at the end of the day, that definitely changed the way we implement, the way we carry out project activity, the way we report our project activity. And most importantly is the level of localization of all project activities. I can tell you there is more involvement of the local team here in project implementation than our head office. But it's very good because the team here are now fit. They now understand how they can contribute through the training we went with Spur Change. So now we know what our management team wants in Canada, and so when a proposal is sent to us, it is easy for us to translate that to what they want.
So I am sure we're in a room full of SMOs, and I know that one of the key problems in between different organizations and different settings is, although we may all speak English, or we might all speak Spanish, or we might all speak the same language, oftentimes the translation between what's happening in Canada and what's happening in another country, we might mean different things. And so I think that this was, this is yours.
Yes.
Sorry, this is Suma's.
Yes. Honestly, when I went through the training, I didn't realize that at the end of the day, I'll be able to get a certificate. And when I look at the content of the training, having gone through it, I was so proud to receive that certificate. And quickly for me, I included that into my CV. And there was a friend of mine whom I shared my CV with, who told me, Suma, you have a very strong CV. So first off, I want to thank Spur Change for that. And also it creates a motivation for the team to grow together, both here and with the Canadian team. So having understood what IBM is all about and the team in Canada, we all grow together. And that quest for knowledge, that impact that has created in us really has changed the status quo. And we are proud among other, we have other NGOs within the community, but with our knowledge in IBM and how we are translating that to the implementation processes makes the big difference.
Thank you. I just want to say, to build on what Suma said, we all know that investing in professional development for our staff, for our teams, is really, really important, and it is really motivating. And very, very rarely do we have the funds to be able to do that. And the RBM training, I think, particularly for us, was such a relevant, so well done, and it was such a relevant opportunity for us that I made it mandatory for our Sierra Leonean managers to do. And then Suma made it mandatory for all his team to do. Sure. And certainly we would have done more, I think, if we had it in other languages. And I guess that kind of takes me to the next slide. Like, this doesn't happen in very, the ability for us as an SMO to build our own capacity is very limited, to invest in our teams. We all are, I think, it's fair to say we're all very driven up to commit all of the funds that we're able to raise to forwarding the needs of the people that we're serving. And so oftentimes we put aside that issue of professional development to in favor of really meeting the needs of the people that we want to benefit. And so I think it was very helpful for us in terms of investing in staff and helping staff to grow. And then, we've even been able to leverage that RBM training so that one of our team members who is fluent in Spanish and English is now using that with our Central American team to help them better understand really not just RBM, but help them to understand a little bit more about where we're coming from when we have to say work with global affairs or when we're working with other funders here in Canada. It's like it's helped us speak the same language a little bit more, and that's been very, very helpful for us.
Yeah, and also it's visible. One big advantage we see working with SPUR Canada, it's the quick response to issues. Whenever we are, whether at the field or at the country office, it's easy to get onto the management and then clarify. Technical support is quickly delivered to the team. And so you found out that we ended up with a very good result, and we always exceed our target in project implementation, because there is no difficult barrier to get to the management to ask for technical support in whatever we do. Yes, and also if you look at the IBM training we've been talking about a lot. My executive director also spoke about that. It's mandatory for all the staff to undergo IBM training. And as I'm talking to you, we have an upcoming training, which is going to be conducted on the 29th for all new staff that we have in the program. And that has improved the outcome of whatever we do, and also the shifting of power to local community. You'll find out that at SPUR Canada, the local staff take the lead in project implementation. We have program managers that are locals, we have supervisors. So it gives us the opportunity to actually translate what is the felt need that has been designed in the project. And that's something that is very, very good. And the localization, you'll see project like We Lead by Sabi, which means we lead by examples. So the name of the project itself tells the people that this is ours. Me small wife no more. My small wives no more. So when we go with projects with such name to the community, it's easy for the community to grasp the project because it is very, very localized.
So I'm just going to wrap up so you can see the enthusiasm of Suma. And I think that's a really good encouragement for me. I think the Spur Change to some extent has really helped us actually to learn and grow together, both as a Canadian SMO, but also as our Sierra Leone partner and office. I think that's been a really fun activity to undertake, and it's been really, really beneficial for all of us. It really helped improve our communication and understanding of what we're trying to do together. And it's really improved the technical skills of the group. So we're really committed to localization and to supporting our local staff and team. And it's been really helpful to have the resources of Spur Change to do that in a really effective way. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Wendy and Suma. As you said, Wendy, you can definitely hear the passion, and I'm glad of all the help that our program has done. We are slowly running out of time, so I'm going to jump quickly over to Shaka Sisi. He's the Executive Director for FIIDI, and one of our newer organizations to join the Alberta Council and to work with us at Spur Change. And so I'll let you take it away from here, Shaka.
Okay, thanks, Andre. Hi, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to present a little bit about what we do at FIIDI. That's the Foundation for Intercultural and Interreligious Dialogue Initiatives. Before I delve deeper into my presentation, I just want to give us a little background on how FIIDI came about. I think we all could remember way back in 2016 when we had ISIS claim bombing in a church in Bangladesh. And just a few years after that, we had the same problem also that did happen in Christchurch, that is New Zealand, where a group of men went into a mosque and killed few Muslim believers. And I think a couple of months after that, the United Nations saw the need for a resolution to be passed that will actually cater for bringing to light some of these heinous crimes that were taking place in different parts of the world. And so that resolution was able to give the international community or civil society organizations or individuals to actually observe the 22nd of August each year as the International Day commemorating the victims of violence based on religion or belief. And so as an individual, someone who has been in the human rights arena for quite a little while, I had to take it upon myself to provide grants from my pocket that I supported 4 organizations in 4 African countries to actually observe the day in support of the resolution that was passed by the United Nations. And so the outcome of the observation of the day actually gave birth to the Foundation for Intercultural and Interreligious Dialogue initiative based on recommendations from cross-cutting organizations around the world. And so what we stand for, we have a commitment towards ending religious and ethnic violence using a dialogue-based approach. Yeah, so we do operate in Canada as a charitable organization in Alberta, and we are active in the Potloko district of Sierra Leone and also working in Burkina Faso in Ouagadougou, which is the capital city of Burkina Faso. And what we do as an organization is basically, like I mentioned earlier, using a dialogue-based approach to address not only religious and cultural violence, but also social change. And that's why you will see that, because over time I have had a couple of people asking me questions like, oh, you work on gender empowerment, you work on skills building for women, and you also work on youth programming. And that's because in all these programs, we have seen dialogue to be a center or a central approach to solving social issues. And of course, yeah, I would like to say a very big thank you to Spur, because I think ever since I came in contact with Spur, not only have we changed in terms of the way we operate as an organization in Canada, Sierra Leone, and Burkina Faso, but there has also been a capacity inbuilt in us as a team, especially me, myself, as the founder and the executive director of FIIDI. And that has given me an opportunity to be very, very much active in what Spur is doing as an organization. And we are not only looking at addressing social issues that do have an impact in the communities that we tend to work, but we're also looking at how can we imbibe the spirit of peace in the mindsets of young people from an early age. Because we know sometimes young people do have secondary sources of information that tend to give them ideas of how other culture or religion look like. Some of those sources are normally not the real source or not the actual source, or they are not factual. So at this in Canada, what we do, we tend to work with young people in elementary school, at the same time in communities, to give them an opportunity to interact with other young people from different cultural or religious background, so that they have first-hand experience of relating with their fellow young people. And I would say through our involvement, or my individual involvements in the trainings that have been offered by Spur, I have been able to increase my participation at the international cooperation level. Today, courtesy what I have gained from Spur, I am able to boldly declare that, yes, I am the secretary to the board of the Alberta Council for Global Cooperation. And this is something that I never thought about that was going to be possible in the beginning when we started as an organization. But like I said earlier, through the impacts of the trainings that I have received over I would say over the last 2 years, has actually positioned me to take a leadership role at the Alberta Council for Global Cooperation. So thank you very much, Spur. You are doing a very good job. And I just want to say thank you again for the great work you're doing. And I want to say before I end my presentation that the work that Spur is doing, Spur Change is actually doing, it's a work that should not be underrated because it has a great deal to play or role to play in terms of us Canadians advancing our participation in the global arena, not only from where we are in Canada, but affecting other communities in the other countries where we work outside of Canada. So thank you very much for taking out the time to listen to me. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Shaka, for that wonderful presentation and those wonderful words. And now we've got another about 15, 20 minutes left. And so we would like to move into a little bit of a question period. So it's open forum. You can ask any one of our presenters any question that you'd like, or also Shanice regarding the report, or myself. So please feel free. I know I saw some questions a little bit earlier in the chat, but I'll just leave it open for now for anyone.
Well, maybe Andre, if I can jump in, I just want to thank the speakers. There's a question from Zainab already. I see that you raise your hand. Go ahead, Zainab.
Good afternoon. Sorry, I'm sick. I just came from, I'm working with homelessness people down in Winnipeg. I'm a Sierra Leonean and I work in Sierra Leone. So like, that's why I'm saying, wow, you're working in Putloko. Because like, as I go every year and we do tree planting, just like you said, and my office in Putloko for Laba Road, and in Winnipeg here with homelessness. There I got the call a few days ago. I just came from the doctor. Yeah, my question is like, you know, Sierra Leone is big, but like you have two. You said which part of Putloko district you are working on your project?
Is this question specifically for me or for Wendy? And
well, like both of you said you work in Sierra Leone. Because
okay.
I born and raised there. I born in Putloko. I know all the area and in Lonsar.
Okay.
And
okay.
the corner where the diamonds are. So I cover almost 4 districts, showing how Canada, we are so grateful, how Canada are really good in international world.
Okay, thank you very much. And I'll take the opportunity to respond to that. Thank you, Zainab. We work basically around the Marampa Chiefdom, which is headquartered in Lonsar, and our office is based in Lonsar itself.
So we're working in Koinadugu, Falaba, Moyamba, Bambali, Bon. So there's a lot of chiefdoms in there, Zainab. Feel free to reach out if you would like to talk more.
Yes, absolutely, I will, because I'll be going April 16. Thank you, but if you can send us your contact, I will, and I will send you contact as well.
Thank you for the question, Zainab. We'll hopefully be able to exchange some contacts, information, and such a little bit later as well. Does anyone else have any questions they would like to ask, again, to any of our fantastic presenters, or about the report itself? Yes, Wendy, go ahead.
Actually, sorry, Andre. One question that I did have was I was wondering if you are able to share, or if Andréan is able to share anything about some of the plans for the next year.
I will let Andréan speak to that.
Yes, sure. Thanks, Wendy. So we thought the program was ending actually at the end of this week. So we spent the last year offering like capacity building, but also trying to wrap up a little bit the program and share what have been learned over the years. Now that we have an extension for a year, we will use this opportunity to create a space for knowledge sharing, as I said, with the conference, but also to do a consultation with the SMOs during the year, asking what are other needs that you have? If there will be another SMO initiative, what should this look like? So we are hoping to engage with all of our partners, the 8 councils, provincial and regional councils of international cooperation, the SMOs who were supported through Spur Change, FIT, and Development Impact Window, but also maybe SMOs that haven't been supported and wondering why and what can we do to support them in the future if there's another iteration of this this type of initiative happening. So this will be some of the work we will be doing, but we are also going to offer in-person training across the country as we always do. And yeah, thanks for the question, Wendy. And maybe, Andre, before I hand it over to you, I see that there are some SMO representative who were featured in the report here today. I see representative from CPAR or École des Entrepreneurs du Québec, or even Kevin. So if you would like to jump in also and share a little bit about your work, that would be amazing. I don't want to put anyone on the spot. Hi, Kevin.
I can say a few words if you'd like.
Thank you so much.
I just maybe wanted to take the opportunity to say thank you to Spur Change. My name is Kevin Lopak. I'm the past president of the Manitoba Social Science Teachers Association and also a board member of the Social Studies Educators Network of Canada. And through Spur Change, we were able to, well, do a lot of great things here in Manitoba, be able to Spur Change allowed us to take some time out of our teaching schedules to talk to other colleagues from across the province and city of Winnipeg about teaching to the global goals and to teaching controversy in classroom. And it was just so great to have time to do that. So we're very appreciative of Spur Change for that. That happened last year and this year. We just had our second session about a month ago. And then also for the opportunity to gather with teachers from across the country in the beautiful Yukon to talk about challenging dominant Western hegemonic narratives of development. So that was great too, and just an amazing opportunity to spend time with colleagues and talk about things, because social studies teachers are sometimes on their own islands. So it was great, and we're just very, very grateful to Spur Change for helping us do that. Thank you.
Well, thank you for your words, Kevin. And just so everyone's aware, Kevin's story and that of the Manitoba Social Studies teachers is in the report and will be featured in there, so you can read more about it as well. Yanni, je vois que tu as ta caméra ouverte. Est-ce que tu avais peut-être quelques mots que...
I see, Annie, that you have your camera open. Did you have something that you wanted to share with us? Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you well. There's a little delay between the French and the English. Oh, my apologies, no problem. I just wanted to see if you had any questions or anything that you wanted to share. I was hoping that Andréane was going to announce something related to the continuation, because this is a space that we're really going to miss. We've had the opportunity to participate in a lot of different training activities and communities of practice. And we feel that we really benefited from all of the work that you've done. We definitely feel strengthened in our capacities. We want to wish you good luck. We want to thank you for everything that you've done for the almost 400 organizations that you've worked with. So really, congratulations. Maybe I'll just quickly add something. José Chinchilla with the Entrepreneur School of Quebec. This organization definitely helped us reaffirm our identity as a small, medium organization working within the field of international solidarity. They helped us to discover different ways in which we could develop different projects that really helped us to develop our own future projects. They brought us to think about the organization's future and how it can be involved in international cooperation here in Quebec. And for us, the program was excellent, and we would certainly hope for it to continue. Having space for SMOs in international cooperation isn't always easy. But when we have programs like yours, it gives us the opportunity to have space, but also visibility that really allows us to build and develop our position towards larger organizations involved in international cooperation, including forming partnerships with them. That's really just what I wanted to say. I want to thank you for this space, all the learning that we've been able to do, and for sharing all of that with us. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you to you both. And once again, the École des Entrepreneurs, the entrepreneurial school, is also included in the report, and you can read more about their story there. I'm not sure if John or Marie-Catherine, maybe you could share the link to the report soon.
For some closing remarks as we are nearing our end.
Yes, thank you so much. I saw a question, so briefly, just to respond to that question, thanks, John, for that initial response to Miché about Spur Change implementing project or training, for example, in Mali. So just to add a little bit to John's response, just to say that our main audience are Canadian SMOs, but it's also their partners. So we are, for example, including and making our training accessible for all the Canadian SMOs and their partners overseas. So we sometimes have organization in Mali, for example, joining some of our virtual training. But all of our resources are available for free in English and French in our resource library. So anyone here in Canada or outside Canada could access them, including the self-paced course that Suma and Wendy shared about earlier. So now that this has been said, I would like to thank all our speakers for joining today, but also would like to thank all the people who actually participate to the production of this year's report. So it's now the moment to share it in the chat and make it available to all. So you will find the reports in English and French in our resource library in the link, if you follow the link shared in the chat. We will share the different stories in our social media over the last few weeks and months. Don't hesitate to reach out to us at Spur Change or to any of these organizations if you want to know more about their mandate, their mission, their project, their partner. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank our interpreters who are allowing us to be able to speak to each other in both English and French. Thank you so much, Fanny and Jean. And we will be here for another year. So please reach out if you want to know more about what's coming up this year. You can follow our e-news, and you can always go on our website as well to see what is going up next for us. So thank you so much. And thanks to the Spur team for making this happen, this session today. Merci à tout le monde.